I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. If you're new, you probably won't know that I hardly ever read romance. But my mental health was a bit low, and so I decided to just lean in to some fun and cheesy romances. In college, I used to read a lot of Sophie Kinsella. She is a contemporary romance author, and I've read like 10 to 12 of her books. And so I decided to revisit one of her books. It's called Can You Keep a Secret? And this was just a ludicrous romance. It really, really did not hold up. So we are following Emma. She has just done her first business trip and she's really just messed it up and she is feeling really upset. And she is also a nervous flyer. So she just starts having quite a few drinks before she gets back on the plane to go back home. She sits next to an American man. And during the flight, they have quite a bit of turbulence. And for whatever reason, she starts blurting out her secrets. The first one kind of made sense. The I can't die, I've never been in love. Like, that seems like a theoretically plausible thing to say. Like, if you think your life might be over and you're thinking, oh, all of the things I haven't done yet, I haven't been in love. Okay, I can believe that. That makes sense. But she also starts spilling secrets that make no sense for her to tell. Like, for example, the coffee at work is really bad. And so she and a coworker will come up with this code to like sneak off and go get like a good coffee from a shop. And I'm like, who shares that when they think like their life is ending, that this plane is going to crash. And it's like, it it's weird. But it had to happen because this is not a random man that she is sitting next to. It is the CEO and founder of the company that she works for. He meets her the next day as he's going in, meeting the people. And quite honestly, the CEO slash founder worship was really off putting. Like they treated him like he was a minor god, deigning to visit them in the office. Like it's just, eh. So anyways, he does use some of the secrets that she blurts out to try and improve things. Like he gets a better coffee machine for the work. And he uses her secrets to kind of stand up for her in a family situation, which I kind of liked. But he pursues her and there's quite a bit of power imbalance and he's quite emotionally unavailable. He knows all of these things about her, but he doesn't really share anything about himself. And he messes up in a really big way. He betrays her and spills her secrets. And I didn't want these people to get together. I full on was boycotting this relationship. Like, no. I also it really didn't set well with me that whenever he would mess up, he would just buy her things, like just really expensive shows of affection, which just it just did not age well. It was very much love bombing, and I didn't care for it. So unfortunately, this did not hold up, and I'm only giving it 2 stars. On a slightly better note, I read Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. I buddy read this with Jennifer over at Jennifer Loves Books, and we have both read her books before and enjoyed them. But this one was not up to her quality. This very much felt like a cheesy Hallmark movie written on the page. The characters are like cheery and query, and this is like a Hallmark movie, and like it was very much pointing out how cheesy it was, which kind of made it fun to poke fun of. We are following these two exes. This is a second chance romance, which might not be my jam because these two women broke up because one of them left her at the altar, jilted her, refused to communicate, and just broke up the relationship. I feel like the only way I can root for a second chance relationship is if the characters have learned and grown and become better people to then get back in a relationship with, which didn't feel like this was the case at all. Very much, they still had lots of miscommunications. It's still a lot of hurt feelings. And quite honestly, I just didn't want them to get together. I did like the friend group, and many of them were queer, and they kind of did a bunch of like events, basically just like a Christmas movie. Like they go horseback riding, they do like speed dating, and all sorts of things like that. And honestly, unless you really, really want a cheesy Hallmark romance, I wouldn't really recommend this one. I do like her other stuff and would recommend that more. But this one, 2.5 stars. So I read a short story called The Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez is one of my go-to romance authors because she creates very realistic conflicts. I just don't like the miscommunication tropes. I want a valid reason for them to struggle or have conflict. Basically, a man decides to try to be a wingman to his brother and puts a card on what he thinks is his brother's girlfriend's car. However, it's not. It's somebody who has a similar car, and when she gets this, she's, like, really confused. They start talking back and forth. He calls himself the worst wingman ever because he couldn't even get the car right, and they kinda just keep talking back and forth via these letters, and they eventually meet, and I just really enjoyed it. This was really cute, and I give it 4 stars. And lastly, I'm kind of stretching the definition for a romance on this one, but it's more like a messy, toxic affair with super unlikable characters and lots of steamy sex scenes. The book I'm talking about is Big Swiss by Jen Beacon. So we are following 50-something-year-old Greta. She lives in an extremely dilapidated house, and she works transcribing sessions from a sex counselor. Starts to get obsessed with one of these patients who she nicknames Big Swiss. And Big Swiss has been through a lot of really traumatic stuff. But one day at the dog park, Greta meets Big Swiss, who is a 28-year-old veterinarian, and they strike up this kind of friendship. It's super unethical, but Greta uses what she's learned in the counseling sessions to kind of befriend and ingratiate herself with Big Swiss. She obviously doesn't let her know that she knows this. Like, this character has some mental health issues, and honestly, she's just a train wreck. And it was fascinating to watch as everything kind of went up in flames. The more she spies on Big Swiss, the more obsessed she gets, and they start to have a relationship. There were quite a few steamy scenes, but some of them had really strange turn-ons, like envisioning the forearms like reaching down into a chest freezer. Like that was a turn on for one of them. And yeah, it was a bit odd. I don't normally like millennial messy woman stories because quite honestly, mostly because the characters are not likable. But this was just charming enough to work for me, and I gave it 3.5 stars. So what will I pick up next? I don't have a clue. I am still reading by whim. I am having no success with TBRs right now. What have you been reading lately? And if you have any realistic romance books that you would recommend, let me know down in the comments below. I'm always looking for more realistic romances. Let's have a chat down in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.